guys, welcome back to Bar Chat. Here we are back on the football trail. We've been off piste slightly with Cheltenham and the Grand National, and then with the motorsport. So we're going to back to football, where we know most of our trade is played. We've got B with us. It's been a while, mate.
We're back.
How are you, buddy?
Yeah, good. How are you?
All right, yeah. We're actually here at the Breeze, but it's now 3 o'clock, actually. So by the time this goes up, we'll be well open, but we're getting ready to open at 5 p.m. Got a bit of an audience member over there. Scott, you all right, mate?
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, excellent. So we've got members in the house as well. Rodders, you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine, mate. Yeah.
Excellent. You had a good afternoon? You've been tipped Irish.
I'm just about recovered from Aintree, mate. And my man of my age, that was a bit of a challenge. But anyway, I'm all right. Yeah, fine, thanks.
Well, you got to blame Matty. Matty, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm very good. Yeah, I recovered. Yeah, I carried on. I don't think I've stopped. So I've needed to recover because I've carried on. So.
Yeah, I do remember calling you from Cheltenham to say I can't face another beer, and you were on your third pint in the boozer. So there you go. Top work. Well, listen, boys, we're going to talk about the football today. We're at the business end of the season. Obviously, the mighty Gooners are in the Champions League semi-final. Somehow Manchester United, we'll get onto this, are in, after everything we've talked about, Matt, your mob are in the semi-final of the Europa League, and basically, 2 games away from getting back in the Champions League. The World League. Yeah. Even weirder, Tottenham in the same situation, and Liverpool, as we are today, 1 point away from winning the Prem. Yeah, surprised on that one, B?
Not surprised. Obviously, we've done what we kind of always do as Arsenal. But let's not talk about Arsenal. I want to talk about how bad are Manchester United, Matt. Please answer me that. How bad actually are they? Because in that game, when I think you did it is it the Lyon game? You went down. What was it? 4-3.
4-2. We're down.
4-2 in extra time.
Honestly,
in extra time.
Unbelievable. I mean, Harry Maguire. I mean, for me, the manager was 10 minutes away from being sacked. If you lose that game, do you agree?
Nah, no. I think if we'd have lost that game, he would still keep his job, because he came in midway through the season. He needs to rebuild. He needs to get his own players. He's already punted out the ones he doesn't want anymore. There's more to go out the door that are out of contract, or Garnacho. There's rumours of Garnacho. There's a good chance that he'll go this summer. He needs to bring in players, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think he would have kept his job.
Have they got the budget, Matt? They haven't got the money to completely overhaul the squad. That'll take 2 or 3 windows, won't it? At least.
Yeah. It won't be a complete overhaul, but they'll get rid of, if they get money for Rashford. That's money and him off the wage bill. Anthony off the wage bill. There's talk of Torre Malacia not coming back, so he's off the wage bill. Ericsson will be off the wage bill. You'll have who else? Possibly Casemiro, Johnny Evans, all off the wage bill.
I just want to ask. Obviously, they all still are on the wage bill, but he's actually done worse than Ten Hag was. So he's dropped. He's now they're sitting now in 14th. I mean, for Manchester United, it's. Yeah. Do you not think? I think he would have been gone if they'd got beat against Lyon.
And the thing is, you can't keep. I think one of the reasons he's kept his job is you can't keep sacking managers, and you have to ask the question: is there a bigger problem? And we've talked about this a lot at the club, because none of those managers, whether you start with Mourinho, any of them actually after Sir Alex, it's panned out exactly the same with every single manager. So you've got to look at it now and go, there must be something else going on. I'm not sure, Matt, I share your confidence in as much as I'm not seeing a pattern of play that works. It's a bit like, we'll get onto Tottenham in a bit, but it's the same. And again, we spoke about this in depth. but it's crucial now, isn't it? I mean, it was scenes at seeing United win that, and I can't believe there's part of me that was pleased to see it because at the end of the day, it's almost got to the point where it's no longer funny. It's not. There's no joke anymore. I needed to get knocked out of the final so that I can actually take the piss again because there's nothing left to take the piss out of. But it's crucial that you get. I mean, you're talking about the selling. Sorry, Matt, you're talking about selling players. The squad's pretty thin as it is. And you're going to need to win the Europa League to get into the Champions League, to get the 100 mil.
Yeah, the money, to build a new squad, to give the manager a chance, because otherwise next year is going to be exactly the same.
They wouldn't have fired. They wouldn't have fired him. There's a small matter. It would have cost them tens of millions of pounds to get rid of him and his team. And why do that when you can spend it on, new players?
Yeah, I don't think they'll have if they don't get Champions League, I don't think they'll have the funds or the attraction for a player. So, you got to think as a player, you're coming into, I don't want to call it a peep show, but, you're coming in a team that finished 14th, 15th in the league. You're going to get, the best you're going to get is maybe someone from Crystal Palace or something like that, maybe Mateta, but I can't see pulling in
Liam Delap from Ipswich.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you might be able to get
you link with the lad at Wolves, Cunha.
Cunha.
Apparently that's over the line.
But you shouldn't.
Where are you signing players from? Where's Wolves at in the league? 17th.
But you shouldn't forget.
One behind us.
Sorry, Rod.
But you shouldn't forget, Man United are arguably the biggest team in the world, with the biggest following everywhere in the world. And, I mean, they're having an absolute shit season. And, the last season was much better. But, when you talk about the attraction, there is an attraction of playing for Manchester United.
You know what it reminds me of, Rod? It reminds me of the time where Liverpool signed Andy Carroll and Ricky Lambert. I don't know if you remember that, but it reminds me that's the type of phase that I feel United are going through, where you're signing players which are players, but they're not, they're not there to get you back up.
I'm sure I don't need to remind you, but Arsenal were in a very similar position to where they are, 4 or 5 years ago?
Well, I mean, I think the worst we finished was 8th, but if 8th's the same as 14th, then
8th, 14th, what difference does it make? It's about his Champions League or nothing.
It occurs to me, Matt, that you are halfway up the country, which means you're halfway up to Scotland. You could go up and play in Scots League here up against Celtic. You'd fucking win the league by about 10 points, wouldn't it? It might make the league a bit more interesting for you, mate.
Listen, on Wednesday when we pick it to St. Mirren, anybody, don't get started.
Only audience members leaving the building.
At least there'd be 3 teams in the mix to win it, eh?
Exactly.
Rather than just 2.
No, we were saying to Scott earlier that if he came into the Prem, how they get on, that upset him. So we said, well, maybe he should play in the Championship. Maybe if Celtic got into the Championship, we concluded they wouldn't get out of that either. So, but anyway, he's gone now. We can't even take the piss.
That's a good question for our audience. If Celtic came into the English leagues, where would Celtic finish in the Premier League?
Good question. Good question. And I mean, they'd be top 8, wouldn't they?
In the Premier League? I mean, have you seen
They'd be mid-table.
I think the argument that Scott would have, and if you get him on it, is that he says that a bit like you're talking about Manchester United, it's a huge club, have 60,000 people up there, all paying £2.50 to get in, but there's 60,000 people going every week, and they've got such a huge fan base that within a few seasons, they'd be in with a shout. But it's the same as Newcastle.
If Celtic went to the Premier League, if Celtic went to the Premier League, they'd be able to attract bigger players, and they'd earn more money to pay the bigger players. So they might do better than I don't know, like the likes of Leeds, for example, that come up and go down, and Southampton come up and go down. So they might then, because they're a big club in in a little island, but a little part of an island. So they might do better after a couple of seasons, but I don't think they do fantastically to begin with.
I agree with you. Well, look, let's stick to the Europa League. I want to push you into our friends down the road at Tottenham in a very similar situation. I think you said they're 16th as of this morning, are they not, B?
Yeah, they are.
Ange hanging on to his job by a thread. My question to you, Rodders, I'll put it to you. I mean, one assumes that if he doesn't win the Europa League, he's going to get sacked, is my first question. And my second question is, is that enough to save him? Because they've been diabolical.
It'd be tough to fire him if they did win that and therefore go into the Champions League, wouldn't it? But on the other hand, it'd be very tempting because, I mean, I don't know about all of you. He doesn't seem, there's no plan B with Ange, is there? If the way he plays is not working against a particular team, he just doesn't change it. And they suffer for that. So, you know,
I think about Ange. I think he would do better at a different club. I think
maybe a different sport. Aussie rules.
I think Tottenham. Honestly, I think people that walk into there just get drained. And I tell you what, he's not been lucky with the injuries and stuff that he's had as well. But even with a fit squad, I mean, they're not winning any games, are they? Really? So, yeah, I think he's on a fine line. But same as Ange, same with Amorim. I think. Yeah, if he get knocked out, I think he's gone.
Well, I think if he doesn't, for sure, if they don't win the Europa League, Ange is gone.
Yeah.
So I heard a rumor that.
I think I've heard this.
Sorry, go on, Rod.
From what I've seen, he's almost like resigned to it. He almost, you know, he doesn't really care anymore. It just feels like that.
Every time I've seen the light at the end of the tunnel, it's usually been an oncoming train.
His body language is. His last interview, he said, "You're going to have to put up with me for a few weeks longer," or something, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. You know.
Yeah.
So,
and the rumor I've heard is that they, at the end of the season, whether they win or go, they'll agree for him to leave.
Right.
Whether they win the Europa League or not.
Yeah,
he'll leave.
Yeah, that's a rumor. Maybe he can go back to if Celtic come down into the Premier League. Maybe he can.
Scott's back
there. Maybe
it's fine. Yeah, he wouldn't have him back though, would you? You're not happy with having what's his face back, are you? Yeah. See, he's won the league, and these sweaties aren't happy.
Probably going to win the treble.
It's not claiming it.
Does that, Mark? Does that prove how easy it is to win the Scottish League if you've got Ange Postecoglou winning it?
We haven't met, have we?
No. They're going to storm out. The only audience members going to storm out again.
Matt, I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Would you take winning the Europa League if it meant getting relegated?
Ooh.
If it meant getting relegated?
Yeah, as in you drop down 4 games, you lose all 4, bottom 3, I don't know who it is, wins all their games, somehow get out, you drop down. I don't know if it's mathematically possible, but, you know.
It's not. We're safe. We're safe.
Team in the Championship.
You like Celtic. Would you take it, though? Say next year, would you take it?
No, come on.
Yeah, I would. I would.
You what?
Taxi!
You go down.
You'd be in the Champions League. You'd have the money. You could still attract players because of the Champions League. The project to go back up and then pump up the Premier League table the next season on it. Yeah.
No, I couldn't do it. I couldn't have the humility of it.
No, I'm not sure either. I mean, I remember when Wigan won the FA Cup. I mean, they went down and won the FA Cup, didn't they? I think in the same season. I'm sorry, I'm staying up in the league because it's so hard. I mean, you see what Wigan are now. They never came back up, did they? It's
mind you saying that. What's the money pot for staying in the Premier League? That's a massive pot, isn't it?
No, you're right. No, but there's also a massive amount of money which comes from if you're relegated. Because isn't the parachute about 70 mil as well?
It's decent money. I mean, that's why clubs come in and they, rather than investing, they just kind of have a go. It's like a free pass, isn't it? So like, Southampton or it's like a free pass.
It can also affect sponsorship money. Because that's all dependent on Premier League status and so on, and the television exposure that comes with that.
75%
I was going to say TV rights and all that. Yeah,
75% of the clubs that come up go straight back down, and I think there's only 4 teams in the last recent years, Brentford being one of them. Can't think who the others will be, that have managed to actually stay up. So even though you're coming up, what they're saying now is the gulf between the Championship and the Premier League is so vast that you've really got to have a spot. If you can get through, I think that first year you got half a chance, haven't you? But that golf is enormous.
Even next year, I mean, it's gonna be. I mean, if you look at where Tottenham and Manchester United are, and they're down there in the Premier League, then it's. I mean, it's gonna be tough for the teams coming up as well. I mean, Leeds got nearly 100 points now, and they'll be lucky to probably get 45 points next season, which is, it's tough. It is tough.
It is. I'll tell you what, though, we could stay humble for a bit, boys, because Matty's here with 3 Arsenal fans. So, mate, feel free to ask us about the Gooners. We're all sat comfortable. Did you bring your cigars?
Cigars. We haven't won anything yet.
Mate, it's all looking. No. Mate, you got to confess, we battered them.
Listen, I will say that before either leg, I was a little bit skeptical about how Arsenal would get on. I thought you'd get a draw at the Emirates. I thought you'd get battered at the Bernabeu, but I'll give it to you, and well done, Arsenal. You absolutely wiped your asses with them. Completely wiped your asses with them. I was very impressed.
We could have won the first leg 5 or 6-0.
Yeah. I was very impressed. I was very impressed with Arsenal.
A slight observation, right? Because I know you're a bit of a fanboy.
Mm-hmm.
Bellingham's not very good.
No, don't say that.
Honestly,
don't say that.
If you're looking at that England team and you're going Rice or Bellingham, and
but you don't need to do all.
2 8s maybe. Okay,
you don't need to do all. I mean,
but he walks around the place like he owns it, but he was bang average in both legs. All you saw was some whinging, moaning little twat walking around the pitch. Who's that other arsewipe that plays centre half? Rudiger. Oh, honestly, we were swearing at Mo. I mean, just whinging.
Well, he's got to be the dirtiest player.
Yeah, I mean, they played like bugs, didn't they? They're kicking everyone.
And what happened with Starboy going off, and he got pulled by?
At half time.
What did he say to him?
No idea what was said, but
I liked how he reacted, though. Did you see that, Matt?
Weird.
I did see it when he was going off down the tunnel. Yeah.
The guy took the piss out.
I think he said
the guy took the piss out of him. The guy took the piss out of him for trying that penalty.
It was half time though, wasn't it? I mean, I think Saka did the right thing. I think he mishit it till this day. I will tell you now. Because before he took it, I actually said to myself, Panenka it. And he
sure you did.
And it went,
get out.
I sent you a message that says something like "fucking idiot."
You
don't Panenka.
And I said
and you came back when he missed it. I nearly fell off the seat.
I genuinely, because before he took the penalty, I thought he got a Panenka here. If that goes in, you can stand there and go.
But missed it as in what? Like
as in Panenka has to go through the middle.
Yeah, obviously.
Because if you hit that, even if the keeper, you don't. If you send him the wrong way, that's one thing. We still hit it hard. When you Panenka, you go through the middle.
Well, yeah, that's why it was so ridiculous.
And that's why it went. I mean, you said it was naive. I think it was naive at that point. Put the game away. 4-0, it's game over.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the fact that he did it, that he tried it. I thought that was good. And I wish
not at the scoreline. Not at the scoreline that it was. If it was, if you were 3-0 up, then and try it. If it's when it's 0-0, you don't fucking do that.
You know,
put
at
the
this
ball in the back of the
level,
net.
it's fine lines, and they go up the end of the pitch. Fortunately, the ref has got the balls to go, that is not a penalty. But had we missed that, they'd have scored, and then you've got the whole of the Bernabout behind them. It would have been a completely different game.
Well, I'll tell you what, the other point is, Mark, it looked like Odegaard was going to take that penalty because he had the ball and he then gave it to Saka. And you and I were saying, oh, for God's sake, don't let Odegaard take it because he's playing shit. He's just awful.
That's what you do these days. You hold the ball for another just because people, once you have the ball, people heckle you, they're in your ear. They're doing all sorts of stuff. So that's the tactic these days.
I mean, maybe you're going to talk about this later. Well, what is wrong with Odegaard? He's gone from being like a really seriously good midfield player, and he can't pass the ball now. How many times did he give the ball away against Palace the other day?
I know. I've seen it for the first time actually against Palace, and I thought it actually took too long. I thought Arteta took too long, but he put Nwaneri on for Odegaard, and Nwaneri actually played in midfield and in the 10. And I feel like if Odegaard does keep playing like this, I don't think his captaincy will protect him anymore. I think Nwaneri is pushing.
Well, Rice should be captain anyway, but
probably. But that's probably what he needs. Though maybe something. There might be a little spark that wakes him up.
Well, something needs to wake him up because otherwise, he's doing nothing.
Well, going back to previous conversations and our previous post about Odegaard, apparently it's just his baby waking him up. So, and that doesn't work for him, right?
No, you're right, Maggie. You look at that's had, nearly 200,000 views, and if you look at all the comments, people say, "Oh, this is what it's like when you have a baby." I mean, it's like he's had the baby. And surely to God, he's got a nanny but also someone in there, interestingly, and I don't know for any Norwegian viewers, that a Norwegian family, both parents, much more involved. I don't know whether that's bollocks or not. It could be, but maybe it's a cultural thing. Maybe he's breastfeeding. Who knows? He looks like he's fucking breastfeeding.
Yeah, I mean, it's his first child, isn't it? I mean, obviously, Rod, you're a dad. You're a dad. I mean, Matt, you're a dad. I mean, the first few months, he's just getting married, had a kid. I mean, I think at home, I don't know if there's a lot of pressure on him, obviously being captain as well of the football club. But as a footballer, you have to put all that aside, and you have to focus on your job, I guess.
It's like any job, isn't it? Is that I was talking to Catherine at the weekend, and my sister and her newlywed husband, and he said that I get he's got a good job in London, and he's got to be up and away, and there's an understanding that if the baby wakes up at 3 a.m, maybe I'm being old school here, he's got to go to work, and he's getting up. So I mean, and then throw Odegaard into the mix, who must have nannies and Christ knows what else. I just don't buy this. I've had a baby. Sorry, I can't kick a football anymore.
Yeah. But hang on, lack of sleep doesn't suddenly mean that you can't pass a football from one person to another. I mean, it was terrible against Palace. How many times did you give that ball away?
Real Madrid.
I would say though, the one thing that he's still doing very, very well is he's taken the pressure off other players. So when he does get the ball, he gets us out of certain situations. Obviously, that's not enough.
It's the creativity that's gone.
It's the final third. It's not good enough. Whereas
actually saying that, mate, he was chasing down. He doesn't seem to do that as much. He was always the guy that was tearing around the pitch.
But I think that's where Havertz is also underrated because he was the one doing that. He was. I don't care what you say. He was the one doing that. He was the one running down, running the defenders.
Mate,
we actually look better about him, don't we?
But here's a little thing. You talk about the Palace game of the weekend. I love Eddie Nketiah, right? Lovely guy. Arsenal fans receive him. They're singing his name and blah, blah, blah. But what's solely evident is he's another player that's hung around the club for a long time that just isn't good enough. And he can't even get a start in the Palace team. And when he was on, he looked like chocolate fireguard. He was useless. And I think we've got these players in our team. I like Havertz, but he doesn't get anywhere near starting, does he? I mean, he can't. We've got to have a forward that can score 20 goals a season and is a threat. And he looks like him and Odegaard at the moment are just passengers, and that is why, other than the injuries to Saka, I think is why we're not closer to Liverpool, if not winning the league.
I mean, even Martinelli, to be honest. I mean,
Well,
he played a good game, but they're good players, but they're not. They're just not.
The reason why we're not challenging Liverpool is because we've drawn 13 games. You can't draw 13 games and win the league.
No,
and quite often we've done that from winning positions. How often have we been one up and, we lose concentration or something?
The one that really annoyed me the other day was Brentford. Brentford did, and even the Brighton as well. They had one shot outside of the Brighton getting the penalty when the Saliba header. They had one shot. Brentford didn't have a shot until the 80th minute, and it's just like, and I understand from the lads at the back's perspective. So like Saliba and Raya, they're doing their job.
Although they were shocking at the weekend.
Talk about Saliba and Raya against Palace.
Against Palace, but I feel like they can be forgiven for what they've done the other side. But it's the forwards for us. The forwards they're just not good enough. He needs to invest this season. Hopefully, this summer might be the time where we get 100 million signing up front.
Yeah, but who?
But that's been one of the stories. That's been one of the stories we keep talking about week in, week out about strikers, and
many good strikers.
None of us are good. There's not.
I'm not sure about Gyökeres.
I hope we do not get. I hope we don't get Ollie Watkins.
Get Mel on the case.
Yeah, well, whip them away.
Yeah, you can whip them away, mate.
I hope
Sponsored by Madrid.
I hope we don't get Ollie Watkins, just because I feel if he can't get a game for Villa right now, it's going to be very, Villa.
Do you know what? Did you see? Was it? I don't know whether it was on. I think it was on the overlap. And Carragher was on there, and he said that he heard that Villa offered
Ollie Watkins.
Watkins when Duran, the offer came in for them. He said, "What I suppose they were trying to placate losing both of them." The Villa offered Arsenal Watkins. We didn't go chasing him, which is, and he hasn't really been featured in the team since.
Yeah.
So,
but it's not. But Rashford's gone in.
Yeah.
So he's mixing them up. But I've heard that I don't know how feasible. There are always rumours. You don't know how feasible these rumours are. But Watkins and Rashford in a swap deal.
Oh, what, to Manchester United?
it's
not the worst. Villa are clearly trying to get rid of him, though, aren't they?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Well, this morning's news was Tottenham are interested in Rashford. I don't know whether Rashford's interested in Tottenham, but
I'll tell you something that Arsenal need to stop doing, and that's signing players from other teams that they've done their best job. They've done their best in the other teams, and now we kind of get the back end of them. So Jorginho or Zinchenko or Raheem Sterling or Gabriel Jesus, I'm sick and tired of those signings. Get me someone fresh.
Well, this Ubamendi, how good is he?
I mean, I've watched like 2 games of his, and I'm not so sure. I mean, the Premier League, it will take him.
Thank you, Melissa.
I think it will take him longer to adapt to get up to speed of the Premier League.
Madrid.
Cheers. I think it will take him longer to adapt to play in the Premier League, and I feel like we just don't have that time. We need ready-made hitters.
Well, there is talk about an extension for Partey for another year.
It needs to be 1 year tops.
Well, you think he's gone?
I don't think he's gone.
I think he was superb against Real Madrid.
I think he was one of the best players in it. But I think he is playing, and this is what players do, which is it's a bit of a myth, but it's a funny myth. When you're on your last year of your contract, you suddenly
play out your skin to get a new one.
You suddenly play out your skin And then I bet you any money, as soon as he signs his new deal, he'll probably be injured.
It'll be shit.
It'll be shit again. And it's like, you know, I don't know whether that's a myth or whether that's a real thing, but it seems to be the case.
Do you know the other thing that's crucial here is that there are players in this team. We've talked about Odegaard, and we've been saying even before this bad form, he had a wonderful season last season. But when it came to playing United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City, he didn't really turn up. I never felt. What we haven't talked about, what I would love to talk about, is Declan Rice, who, when it matters, becomes, if he's 90% or he's 120% when he's playing the top teams. And all right, he scored 2 wonderful, but what a player! I mean, you know, we owe. I think Moyes said we owe Arsenal owe me 50 mil. I mean, 100 million like a bargain. Do you think
he's brilliant? He's brilliant. Yeah, I think Rice is by far your best signing. Or even if he'd gone to another team, he would have been that team's best signing for many, many years. Rice is a brilliant player.
Man, you should have signed him. He would have been perfect for you.
Well, I totally agree. But going back to the Bellingham and Rice thing. Bellingham was brilliant when he first went to Real Madrid. He's gone completely off the boil. And if it was right now a choice between Rice or Bellingham in an England team, Wright is on that team sheet straight away. First time.
Well, you're putting in Bellingham.
Don't do that. Honestly, this needs to go straight onto the socials. That's a great debate. Don't do that. Let's not do that.
But that England midfield now needs to be. Yeah. Don't put Rice in the 6.
Yeah.
It needs to be Rice and Bellingham, if that's what you're saying.
Okay.
In either playing 2 10s, 2 8s,
all right.
And I'd put Adam Wheaton behind them and just let him just let him mop up, because you're wasting Rice to accommodate Bellingham. And you're doing. Yeah. I feel like we're not far off a Lampard-Gerrard situation again. And then you've got the likes of what's the kid at City who don't know what's happened to him. What's his name?
Foden.
Yeah. I mean, what's happened to Foden?
Forgot his name. Player of the season.
But what's happened to him? What's happened to him? Rubbish. And the same. What's happened to? I mean, there's talk of Grealish leaving as well. And I know he's getting on a bit, but there are players that have dropped off a cliff for City this year. But I just don't see. Mate,
and I'm going to stand up for Jude, and I'm going to say Real Madrid lost 3-0 away at Arsenal. Arsenal are a very, very, very good team. He's played at a top level in every single game this season that he plays in. But because he's been put under the spotlight and been beaten by a better team, which not many people will say, they'll say, oh, Real Madrid's better than Arsenal. They've been beaten as a collective by a better team. Doesn't make Bellingham a bad player.
It doesn't explain why. But
no.
I tell you. Can I just say one thing, right? If Bellingham played Mbappe through or Vinicius through, I can't remember, in the first half at the Emirates, and when he got put through, if they finished that, they're 1-0 up, and he's got an assist to his name. That's a completely different ballgame.
But he didn't.
No, but I think I'm not saying Bellingham's a bad player. What I'm saying at this moment in time, he's gone off the boil. He's completely gone off the boil. He's not.
You've got to admit, he's not bad.
But he was a massive for England.
Yeah, I think we made him look bang average.
Yeah, for England and now.
The same way I've been saying Bukayo Saka's world class since how long ago? I've been saying it. He's just, now it's only coming to people are only seeing it now. I will tell you now, Jude Bellingham, 21 years of age. The only thing that I do think with him is he wants to be the main character. And if you're going to be the main character, you got to get, you got this 2 sides of it.
Well, it might mean he would play better for England because he is the main man, Bellingham, whereas he's in a team of Galacticos. But I mean, I feel like they still feel like they're Galacticos. But if you took this current team against, the Figos and the Ronaldos and I mean, they're not very good.
No, they're not. Nowhere near. They just play the same badge, aren't they?
I mean, I think he's losing his job, isn't he?
Who's going in?
Yeah.
Xabi Alonso, maybe?
Alonso, yeah. That's the one I've heard.
It is interesting. But I think, there's a group of young players there that a little bit over their heads, maybe, But I mean, Declan Rice. If you say that way, Declan Rice would start for Real Madrid. Put it that way.
Well, listen,
with Bellingham, he gets he's like you say, he's 21. He had he carried England for a bit. He started off amazingly at Real Madrid. He's gone off the ball a bit. Like you say, he's 21. There's a lot of pressure there for a 21-year-old at Real Madrid and being England's star man and whatever.
Yeah,
but so I'm not giving him our time. I'm just saying he's gone off the ball. Rice is better than him at the moment. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, we've digressed. We've gone from Arsenal to Real Madrid and Bellingham and Rice. So this year you have got, I'd say, probably the best chance of winning the Champions League that you've had for a long time. You've already beaten PSG. You've got them again. Are you going to do it?
What was the score when we played?
2-0.
2-0.
No, just home.
It was in the group.
Didn't they finish about 13th or 14th or 15th or something in the Champions League qualifying table?
Yes,
there's a lot of talk about that where people knew what they were doing, didn't there? Have you read that?
No.
It's like, you didn't have to finish top. I mean, if you look at the running,
yeah, but you don't want to be outside the first. First six?
The first 16, I think, because it's extra game. Yeah, you have to play 2 extra games, which no one wanted to do.
Yeah.
But,
shouldn't we?
I think
there you go. Celtic even made it. I said Celtic even made it, so it couldn't have been that fucking. Probably.
Shouldn't we be talking about Tottenham and how much they're missing Harry Kane?
To be honest, I honestly, you got to respect Harry Kane for this. He carried that whole club, didn't he?
Well, his goals did.
Honestly, they're embarrassing. They're an embarrassment. I'm sorry. If I was a fan of theirs, I don't know what. There's nothing you can do. I wouldn't even watch them. Wouldn't bother.
What was it? Somebody was saying they're summed up by their logo. Some cock stood on a ball. Anyway, it is that.
So listen. You boys, you're all Arsenal. Like I said, you've got a great chance of winning it this year. I would. It pains me to say I'd like you to win it this year. I think you can win it this year. This is your best chance, as I said, for a long time to win this competition. But if you don't, and you don't win the league, no domestic cups for another year gone, do you get rid of Arteta or do you keep Arteta?
It's not even a conversation worth having.
What, you get rid of him?
No, of course we keep him. I mean, look where we were when he took over.
Yes,
and
of course.
We're now, as just described by our esteemed colleague, as one of the best teams in the world. Okay, yeah, we've got a little bit to do. We know what we need. I agree. We've known what we needed for the last probably 3 windows and haven't signed a striker. But I wouldn't even. It's not even a conversation. Do we get rid of Arteta?
I look into my left ear and I think he's twitching.
I love everything about him. I genuinely do. But I'm kind of 50-50 in as much as I'd say to you, okay, for anyone that says get rid of him, I'd say, okay, for who would be my first question. Who do you want to lose?
That's the first question. Yeah.
You know, that's your first thing. And then the second thing you say is there's no doubt about it. I tell you what I think with him. I think he's a brilliant coach. I think he's probably very good at managing people. Do I think he's elite in as much of his in-game ability? I think is poor. I genuinely think it is. I don't think he's got I think when it really matters, I see too many times, and listen, I'm being super critical, but I see too many times where he goes, Martinelli, Trossard. He goes, Jorginho for Partey. You go, mate, we're 1-0 down. You need to make a fucking change. that's going to change the shape of the team, that's going to give them something to think about. And he doesn't have that in the locker. That said, all the other things means no, I wouldn't sack him, but I think there's a kink in the armour. That
Mark, but do you think he makes those predictable changes because you haven't got the depth in the quality and depth in the squad, so he has to bring on what he's got, and that makes it predictable because that's all he's got.
When we had no left winger, why wouldn't he play Nwaneri out on there?
Because he's not a left winger.
Well, you don't know that. He didn't play him there. Saka wasn't a left back.
Correct.
So he's now on the right wing. So he's a young kid that's got the ability. He can beat people. He can run with the ball. He can carry with the ball, which is something we don't have. But try him. Just try him. Instead, he'll do something like bring Tierney on, which I have no problem. I like Tierney. I don't think he's going to you anymore. But, the idea, I don't think he is now.
Signed and sealed and done.
I don't think it is. I think there's talk about him. He's too good for your league anyway.
What do you get me, honestly?
He is very good.
Yeah.
He'd walk into your team, be club captain
He wants to come back anyway.
No, surely not. But when he's making like Calafiori and then playing him, I just think he hasn't tried shit that we've said along the lines. I mean, look, stroke of genius, Mourinho up front, maybe.
I think with Arteta, I think I'm with Matt. I don't think he's had the resources, but also I feel he's in a position where he cannot try things. Whereas if you're Manchester United and you're 14th in the league and you're playing for nothing, you can try things. When you need to win the game, which if Arsenal don't win,
okay, answer me this:
right?
Would you have given Rice 90 minutes on Saturday? Of course you fucking don't. What on earth is he doing? I understand put some minutes in the legs for Saka because he's been out. But 90 minutes. I mean, if we didn't have Rice, have we got Partey or not on the first game? I don't think we have.
No, we haven't. If
we'd have picked up a knock against them and we didn't have him, you've risked everything. And there was no reason to play him.
No, there wasn't. Ipswich was such a comfortable game as well.
It's just, and that's why I'm saying I don't know that. And Rice, I'm sure, wants to play every game. Any footballer wants to play every game. But in terms of in-game management, that's big. We're being really tough on him. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, I think maybe in terms of like Rice as an individual, he probably when he's on the pitch, you probably also need to take care of yourself a bit. So it's 90th minute against Ipswich, you're 4-0 up. You do not need to sprint. But
it showed, didn't it? It was a lackluster game. Apparently the stadium was diabolical.
Yeah.
They all looked like they were just going through the motions and didn't want to get injured, which makes sense, doesn't it?
I wouldn't be surprised if Arteta said when you go, don't get injured.
I mean, but you see the tackle that the lad put on Saka? I mean, well, there's nothing you can do about that. You pass the ball away, and he's just coming from behind
the back of the.
And it's like as a player, like what can you, what more can you do as an individual? But I think overall, I think Arteta he's missing that little bit of individual quality, and that's when against Madrid, that's what we had. So we need it again against PSG. And we'll need it again, hopefully, if we make it to the final. But he is reliant very heavily on that individual quality up the top of the pitch. That's my opinion. So he just needs to sign new players.
Well, guys, sorry, Mark. One of the things, and you and I talked about this, is, why did he play him? When Alex Ferguson was managing Manchester United, he nearly always played his best team, and he didn't take any slackers. There was never don't get injured. It was get out there. You're representing Manchester United. You should feel proud and go and do it. And I think it was probably the right attitude.
The game's changed though, hasn't it? The game's really changed. I don't know why. Maybe it's I don't know. Was it that many games back then? There would have been though, wouldn't there?
There's definitely more games, mate. But in terms of getting injured, the game, it was a rough out there back then. You can get away with all sorts. Now you can't. It's a different game for them. But also, I think the guys, even just look at the physical specimen of a footballer today. And you think back to our day of Jan Molby, you might not remember him, but I mean, he was just a big old fat lump in the middle of the park. That you know, I mean, I don't even know how he got around the park, to be honest. But you know, that was the different game. Bloody good player, by the way, but. You know, it has changed, isn't it? But you'd argue it's more physical.
Same thing with Matt Letizia as well.
Yeah,
he was never the fittest, in shape kind of guy. He was.
He was unlucky. They talk about him with England, and he never. It was Shearer, Wright, and someone else, Sheringham, and he never got to play for England. And I think he was one of the most talented players. He was a superb player.
Brilliant.
I mean, if you ever watch a show reel of goals of Matthew Letizia, it's only second to Dennis Bergkamp, and that's me being a bit biased. But you know, it was that kind of player. He was that skillful. You know. So anyway, listen, we're turning into an Arsenal podcast, as it should. But I just wanted to, and I have to move and segue into Liverpool without sounding like we've got sour grapes. Listen, they've won the league. Short of a point. Who are they playing at the weekend? Do you know?
Tottenham Hotspur.
Well, I rest my case.
They've won the league.
We're not getting anything out of those fuckers, are we? They'll fucking hand them the ball and put it in the back of the net.
This is the funniest thing about Tottenham, though, right? They will be capable. If anyone's capable,
they'd rather lose.
If anyone's capable of beating Liverpool, it's Tottenham Hotspur.
No, but they'd rather lose and see us lose than actually win anything.
Do you think they'd rather lose?
Yes. Have you ever spoken to a Tottenham fan?
I mean, they did on Sunday.
What's the Rangers fan?
Mark, the thing is, right, back in the day, the players would hate for back in the day, you'd probably have players that would want Liverpool to beat them just to stop Arsenal competing. Now, like you just said, have you spoken to Tottenham fans? The Tottenham fans would like to lose against Liverpool so Arsenal don't win the league. But the players, I don't think that rivalry's there with the players because of all the foreign contingency and everyone that comes in. I don't think that, like you've seen it now. There's famous clips of Roy Keane, and it's like a United and City derby, and they're all the players are standing there having a chat, and Roy Keane's giving it, "What you doing? You go to war. You're going to war out there." And do you know what I mean? And it's I don't think the players get that rivalry anymore. So I don't think the players would sit back and let Liverpool win, so Liverpool win rather than Arsenal. To be honest, I think. I don't know. It's just my opinion,
They got no. But listen, Liverpool 1 point away. How do I segue into this without sounding like sour grapes? My question to you guys, B, I'll ask you first. They have won a lot of games with very late goals. In fact, it was Palace, wasn't it? Where they've won a lot of games by one goal with late goals and got what they've got. I also wanted to say City have dropped off a cliff. I mean, no one could have imagined the demise this season. Manchester United are nowhere. Chelsea are nowhere. Arsenal have stuttered and probably through injuries and not having a deep enough squad and not signing a striker. Have they won this by default, or do you think they're a 10-point better team than anyone in the league?
I think they won games when sometimes they shouldn't have won. So even PSG away was the best example of that. I think they got absolutely battered, and they scored a goal. But that's what they do, and that's what they've been good at the whole season. The first 3 months, don't get me wrong, they played brilliant football. After that, I think they've just won games when they've had to win, and they somehow found a way to win. In the Premier League, more often than not. So, they got beat in the FA Cup. They got beat against Newcastle in the Carabao Cup. They got, in the Champions League, they got beat PSG. So, I think they'll get better next year. But I don't think they've had a very good season. But I think individually, Salah, probably McAllister, Van Dijk, and the goalkeeper, they've had really good seasons again. And that gets you over the line. Sometimes it does.
But you with Slot coming in, I mean, Klopp was the Messiah. He comes in. No one expected I mean, I think they were pretty long odds. Rooney actually told us about the odds on Liverpool, because no one expected this lad to come in, and they thought there'd be a headache like there was with Wenger, like there was with Ferguson. He's come in, won the league. Is it because he's inherited a very good squad, and is this a swan song? Because I hear you, I do think Salah's had a great game. There's some uncertainty about Virgil van Dijk. Is he still the player? Is he still as quick? Is he? I know they've got another contract. Yeah. Trent is going. The young kid's going to therefore, what's his name, play in Trent's position?
Bradley,
yeah. You know, is it going? Are they going to find it that easy next season, or just could be? There's just one stat. The clubs that have won, I think it was Mourinho's in Chelsea and one other, that they're in the first season have won the league and then had a shit show the following thing.
I think my opinion will be next year they'll be back into a rebuild. I think, and again, I don't know whether it's coincidence. Same thing with Partey this season. Salah and Van Dijk both been on their final year in their contract. For some reason, play out their skin. I have no idea where that comes from. But, you know, they're scoring goals, they're left, right, and centre. They're creating goals and they're winning games. So, you know, maybe next year we'll just see them relax a little bit. They've gone, we've done it, lads. You know, we got the contract.
What I would say about both of them is, I would, if I were Liverpool, I'd think long and hard about giving them any length of contract, because they're both 30 something, and their pace will go, and it happens really quickly. How many players have we seen that suddenly just aren't the players they were because their legs go? And with Salah, that's the most important thing for him, and also for Van Dijk, who's never been the quickest player anyway.
You know the answer for Van Dijk, if he wants to carry on playing Champions League football and go back to where he belongs, he could go back to Celtic.
He'd walk that league.
He'd walk it in there, wouldn't he? I mean, it'd be.
I don't think he'd run more than 2K and he'd be all right.
Oh, it's just like playing in Division 3.
I think with Liverpool, you saying he's Slot's inherited a good team. He's obviously inherited a good team. They made no signings, and they didn't win the league. They didn't win the league last year. The 23-24 season didn't win the league because City were much better. I think they've obviously they've played well. They've performed well. They've won games. So they deserve to win the league this year. But I do also think it's only because the Cities, the Arsenal. I was going to say United, but I can't include United. But I don't know, maybe Chelsea, whoever. They've not been up to their usual high standards, which I think has allowed Liverpool to win the league this year.
To be honest, it's also a thing of when you look at it, it's also a thing of the Liverpool have actually not beaten the top teams. They've actually just beaten everyone else. And what happens is everyone else couldn't beat everyone else. So like Arsenal dropping points against Brighton, Palace, City dropping points everywhere. And it's, I think that's been the case as well. It's been everyone else has probably gotten a little bit better and Liverpool found a way to beat them.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to take your hat off to them. They've done it. Congratulations.
Yeah, well done.
Well done.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Christ, we're
well done. Well done.
Jesus, there's nothing like a smug Scouser.
Yeah, we'll hear about it.
Oh, listen, the one thing I'd say from going to Aintree, Matt, you'll agree with this. We had a fantastic day, and they're super passionate, the Scousers, and they you can't not like them, can you? But they don't half lay it thick. But listen,
no, but they don't. We like them, but they don't like each other. The fight at the end of the national day. We're just standing having a quiet beer, and suddenly some bloke comes flying over a fence. And he was pursued by a woman, by this woman. This woman had thrown him off the. I mean, there's nothing against women, but she'd thrown him across the thing. And he
landed in some
if you remember, it was when we turned up. It was when we turned up, and I think she pushed him over that little wall or fence, whatever it was, and then punched him and said, "Don't you put your fucking hands on me!" And then all hell broke loose. And it was only after that I thought about it, and there was me, Rodders, and Mark standing in the middle of the road with a pint of beer right outside this pub, and all hell is breaking loose, right? And there's police vans and police cars and a line of police. We're just standing in the middle of the road going, "Fucking going on here?" And Mark said he's going to go for it. Look, he's tying his suit jacket around his waist, and lo and behold, he comes pelting back. I grabbed hold of him, didn't I? I said, "Don't get yourself in fucking trouble." And then he just ran off the other direction and punched someone else. It was brilliant. It was just,
Went home and said he'd had a
Brilliant.
fantastic day.
yeah. Oh, I thought it's highly amusing. It was brilliant.
Very funny. Well, listen, we're getting to the end of the pod, boys. There's a couple of big time calls that we need to make. I'll ask all of you, so all of you can say whether all of them will or some of them will. Which manager survives the summer? B?
I mean, like I said, win or lose, Amorim stays. I think, and then win or lose, he's gone. And Mr. Postman, he's gone. He's gone. The thing, I honestly, he doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to be there.
No. He wants to go home and put some shrimps on the barbie.
He wants to go do something else. He's
get bitten by something horrible. Matt, who stays? Do they all survive, or who goes?
No, Amorim stays. Postecoglou's been franked already back to Celtic, I think, or back to Australia, like you say, to be a cast of Bluey. I think if the young parents are watching.
I love Bluey.
I like Bluey. It's very.
Can't remember.
There you go. Anyway, but I think Postecoglou goes.
What's that?
Aren't they pills?
Well, Bluey's.
They're not drugs, mate.
Well, you tell us, Rob. You tell us.
We're not still in the 70s here.
I was going to say that there used to be pills in my day. Apparently. Sorry, I don't know that.
Right. Someone
Postecoglou goes. Amorim stays. Arteta stays. Who else is going to go? I don't think anyone else really is under the chop, are they? I don't think anyone else is.
So.
I mean, the bottom three, their managers will go.
Mark and I were talking about it yesterday. We're watching the Palace match. The Palace manager's done a great job, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has done a great job. Yeah, so he could move on. He could go Tottenham. So
well,
you never know, do you?
No.
You never know.
Or Thomas Frank.
Thomas Frank's another great manager.
Fantastic job.
Nice cake, mate.
Yeah.
Nice cake arrived. Getting some balloons. Lovely. It's all happening. We're only 40 minutes before opening. So sorry, Matty. What was yours? Out? You don't think Ange will make it?
Ange is the only one I can see right now that's going to get the chop. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't see Tottenham winning the Europa League, even if they got to the final. And played United, I don't see them winning that. So I think they're out, and therefore I think Ange is out. If I were them, I know you wouldn't want to hear this, Dad, because it's your childhood club. But Thomas Frank or the guy at Bournemouth would be a very good addition for Tottenham. And not that I want to see them get any better. I would give him a job for life, to be honest. But
Thomas Frank is a very, very good manager. He's a good man manager. Look at they lost what's his name? He went to Saudi centre forward. Scored all the goals for Brentford. Sorry,
Tony.
So, yeah, lost
Tony.
Yeah. which you would think would be a massive loss to them. But they've got Mbuemo and Wissa have come in and scored. I don't know. I mean, they've scored each about 12, 13, 14 each.
Yeah.
But he's a player. He's a manager who does know how to change his tactics halfway through. Things aren't going right. He knows how to do it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
really
that's
hope
good.
he stays
That's
at Brentford because they're my second team. I used to go when I was a kid all the time, but I think he's gonna move because, as we just said, you get rid of your manager. Who do you want to look at? Who would you go for? Well, Thomas Frank's got to be right up there.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling they won't be able to hold on to Mbuemo and Wissa much longer if they keep performing like this.
Well, I think they'll lose both of them this summer.
The other player I think will be on the move is he looks kind of Arsenal-like player actually, is the Crystal Palace Mateta, is it?
Eze.
What's his name?
Or Mateta.
Mateta.
Oh, Mateta. Well, an Arsenal player?
I can see him playing for Arsenal.
Really?
Yeah.
Nah, send them to Man U. Send them to Man U quick.
Oh, there's a lady walking towards us with some very large plumes.
That's for me.
Lovely. Go on, mate. You meet her on the outside.
Yeah,
Jesus, how old's this person? 20.
20.
There's a 2. There's a
It'll
2.
be
That could
20.
be a 5.
2020.
It's either a
It'll be
50th,
25.
which case, Dad, get yourself down, or no, I think it's a 20th. Matt, get yourself down.
I'm going.
No, hang on. With Matt, he's 50. He'll be there for the 50-year-old.
Listen, I'm in that middle bit, Rod. I can come to either.
You can go either way, yeah. Well, you've
It's a
always gone
50th.
either way.
Dad, get in the car as a 50th.
More grateful, more experience at 50.
Anyway, sorry, guys. One last question then before we go. Who lifts the trophy?
What trophy?
So you've got us. Obviously, Liverpool are going to get the Premier League. Let's discount them.
Yeah.
You've got Man United and Tottenham in the semi-final. Arsenal in the semi-final. Out of any of those clubs, who lifts the trophy?
None of us. No, it's not possible actually because one of Man United or Tottenham.
No.
Oh
it's
no,
not.
they
They're
don't.
in the semi.
No.
I'd actually like Man United to win it.
Do you? Yeah, I back Man United to win it. Rod, do you want to know something funny? I think I heard something about Tottenham. The team that they're playing, I think their stadium has a bigger capacity than the city or wherever they are from.
Oh, really? So the whole city needs to be there.
The whole city needs to be there and still wouldn't fill the stadium.
Jesus Christ. It's like Tottenham.
I mean, if Tottenham don't go to the final, that's a disgrace. That's number one. But I think Man United will win it.
I hope. You remember when United won '99 Champions League final? We were down against Juventus, and Roy Keane inspired that comeback. We've had that same comeback against Leon. Obviously United fan. I'd love to say we're going to win it. So fingers crossed. Champions League. If I was to put a bet on now, I would put money on Arsenal winning the Champions League, and obviously Liverpool are winning the league. So, yeah, that's my 3 predictions for the 3 big cups.
Well, Rodder's gone. What do you think?
I think I'll go along with Matt. I mean, obviously, I can't say anybody other than Arsenal to win the Champions League, can I? I couldn't bring myself to do that. I really hope, as I've said, Man U win it, and Liverpool's all over, isn't it? So, yeah, I agree with him.
I think let's assume we get past PSG. We will have either Inter Milan or Barcelona in the final. And bizarrely, I'd rather we played Barcelona because I think they'll have a go. And I think we've got a chance against a team that has a go. I said the same if we'd have got Atletico instead of Real, we'd have struggled.
Same with PSG, really.
Yeah, but they're more all round. They're not going to sit, are they? There'll be a balance. I think Manchester United will win the Europa, and I think it's us or Inter Milan.
I think what I hope will happen is that Manchester United get beat by Athletic Club, because I didn't even,
But that's Bilbao, isn't it?
It's Bilbao.
Athletic. Yeah. So they've got the Thingy brothers, the kid that we were after.
Yeah, Inaki and Williams. Yeah, they got them both. Yeah. So I'm hoping Nico and Inaki. Yeah, I'm hoping that Athletic. I mean, Leon got close, but Leon just didn't have the quality, and they were 4-2 up and somehow still lost. I'm hoping that Athletic win, and then they meet Spurs in the final, and then Athletic win the cup. That's number one. That's what I hope happens. But I think Man United will win it. I think in the Champions League, I think actually Barca will win it, disappointingly. And I think in the league, obviously Liverpool's done it. Who's winning the FA Cup, by the way?
Relevant, isn't it?
Is it irrelevant?
I think Palace. I think Palace would do it.
Who's left?
Who's left in the FA Cup? That's a good question.
Palace are playing Villa.
Yeah, Forest and
I tell you what, I hope Nottingham Forest.
City.
Palace, Forest and City. I hope Forest win it. It will be City.
Fuck's sake. Yeah.
No, I want Palace.
The FA Cup.
I'd like to see Villa win that. I think they've got great support.
Palace, I want.
Yeah. Do you know what? It pains me a little bit. We've got Will that I went skiing with, massive Geordie, but seeing the Geordies celebrate winning the Carrot Cake Cup. But to be in the city with those Geordies, it looked awesome. And, and it's great to see, that. I mean, they haven't won something for 70 years, have they?
It was a bank holiday. That Monday in Newcastle, bank holiday.
Dad was 9.
On the Monday, it was a bank holiday. No one went to work on the Monday. It was carnage. The streets carnage on the Sunday.
Photos in the multi-story car park, and it was awesome.
Honestly,
but listen, guys, we were there for the Arsenal away game last season, right? What the atmosphere, just absolutely fantastic. We're still beaten 2-0, but there you go.
Yeah, nearly got our heads bit. We would have Arsenal shirt. Well, I did.
You had your Arsenal shirt on underneath your jumper.
Well, do you remember we got in the concourse and the guy said to me, "You're a fucking Arsenal fan." After we beat them 2, I went, "Yeah, pulled my jumper up." But he was really nice, wasn't he? He was a good crack.
They're all good sport, aren't they?
No, he smiled as he kicked you in the bollocks. It was a really nice bloke.
It was a very nice guy.
Shout out to the Geordies. Shout out to Newcastle.
Shout out to the Geordies. Agreed. Yeah.